Hey everybody, Derek here to bring another video for Z Nation. And today what I'm going to do is do a prediction video for Cassandra. Trying to figure out some of the things that they might do for her character in Season 2. I'm going to be doing some other prediction videos for the other characters along the way. And if there's any other Z Nation video that you guys have in mind that you want me to do, don't be afraid to make a suggestion. I would greatly appreciate it. This video may contain spoilers. If you're not caught up with Z Nation, it's going to contain spoiler information through Season 1. Plus, it's going to have some predictions, which, may, as a result, if you hear about it beforehand and it's incorporated into the plot, and you're not as surprised by that, if you're the kind of person that doesn't want to be spoiled like that in any way, this video may not be for you either. Okay. So, when we left off in Season 1 with Cassandra, she had been bitten by Murphy. And as a result, she kind of became a little bit of like a zombie-human hybrid, almost like Murphy. Now, there's obviously a lot of questions that, you deal with when it comes to what happened, because we've seen Murphy bite people before, but each one of them died before, something was able to happen to them. He bit that one guy back at the FU bar, and then he got shot, and then he bit, one of those people that was going for the drugs, and, made him shoot himself. He spit into the water of the woman, and he could control her. So we really didn't know what could happen as a result. And Cassandra may be the example of what happens to people, if they're bitten by Murphy. That's a very good possibility. And I think that there are some various avenues that they can explore in Season 2 with Cassandra. But whether they're going to do it or not, I don't know. But one of the things that I'm predicting at this point when it comes to Cassandra is that this particular story for her, it's either going to mark the beginning of something new for her, or it's the beginning of the end for her character. Cassandra really hasn't had that much of a role since the Cannibals. And every character has different arcs, different stories, different times where they matter. And there's nothing wrong with sharing the story a little bit. But, Cassandra, out of all the other characters, has really had the less of the development since Season 1, ever since the Cannibals. She really didn't have much of an arc. So, this is either the opportunity for them to give her an arc, or to close her arc off. And I'm going to explain some different ways that can happen. In regards to having her, stay alive as a character, if she were to continue on, I'd be absolutely fine with that. I don't ever want to see any of these characters die necessarily. Obviously characters do have to die in order for the story to, be shocking and emphasize that this is a zombie apocalypse, but it may not have to be Cassandra. I feel like with the character, because of the fact that she's been bitten, and that she kind of seems to be like, almost like Murphy, except not exactly like him, this could be the perfect opportunity to explore a little bit more about what happens to people when they're bitten by Murphy. Can he have 100% control over them? Because a lot of what was going on there, it seemed, was because Murphy was, controlling her. Murphy was like, go ahead and bite, get those guys, and she, pounced on the guards. And, whether Cassandra would do that on her own, we don't know yet. And I'm very interested to see what her demeanor is when we come back in Season 2. Because I thought about this, Cassandra might be under Murphy's control, and Murphy, might be able to, build a rapport with her because they're very similar now. where it was like how I explained in a previous video, like in True Blood, like when you bite somebody and they, you share the blood of like the vampire and the human, the there's a connection that's formed. And I think that there's a possibility here that we might have the same thing. Now, whether it's Murphy has to, emphasize on that, or whether it's, always there, we don't know yet. And we also don't know if Cassandra is going to be changing along the way. Is she going to become more like Murphy, or is there something else that's going to happen with her? And I feel like in this season, Cassandra could really be the example of what happens. So she may travel with Murphy for a while. I mean, we really don't know how fast these characters are going to get back together. They may rejoin up right away. We may see Cassandra joining up with Warren's group. We may see her go right to Murphy because that's who her connection might be with, hypothetically. So we don't really know where these characters are going to be at. But I think that if she goes with Murphy, then I think that we're really going to be exploring a little more about, what these powers do to her and what they can, potentially do for Murphy. Whether she becomes like his second in command, some, henchman, somebody that, he can use and incorporate in order to do what he wants. That may be a possibility. And I have stated before that I think there is a very good chance that Murphy might be somewhat of an antagonist in season 2. Not necessarily the direct one, but just right now he's in a position where I don't think he trusts anybody after what happened in the finale. So Cassandra might be that person that, joins up with him and, does things, and we might see how this virus affects her and how it changes people and more of what it's about. So I think that's one possibility. But another possibility is that maybe, Cassandra does not embrace what she's become, and we might see a little bit of resistance by her. Because again, I often wonder, what is she going to be like in season 2? Has she become something completely evil that, will cause her to do terrible, evil things? Or does she still retain a lot of her human qualities? We have yet to see that. I mean, I don't think that the zombie virus necessarily made Murphy the person that he was in regards to just being the selfish individual that he was. But I think that because of these powers, he became something darker than he was before. And you have to wonder if that's going to be the case with Cassandra. I've often wondered, could people maybe resist Murphy's control over them? We haven't seen that yet. Anybody that he came in contact with, he could control them apparently against their will. Now, will Cassandra be struggling with that or not is a very good question. And I could see a situation where she does, find Warren, Doc, and 10,000, and, they're all like, oh my goodness, Cassandra, what's going on with you? And, trying to figure out, what she's, going through. And again, trying to see what Cassandra goes through as a character. Because we may see that, there are problems with, biting people. There may be a possibility that Cassandra might, have a taste for flesh. That may be a possibility that, she becomes something that is dangerous. That in the blink of an eye, she could attack you without provocation because she wants to eat you, or just because there's something within her that wants to attack. So that's a possibility too. That we may see her struggling with that and struggling with who, she's going to be. And there may be an inner conflict there, with her embracing these new powers versus not wanting to become something very terrible. So it really makes you wonder what exactly she's going to be like in season 2. But I think that is a very good possibility that they will continue her story, that she will stay important. and that because she's been bitten, she has, been contaminated per se by the virus. We may see exactly what is going on inside of her, or what happens to people when Murphy bites them, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, and what it might do. So there's a lot of possibilities that they may, have in store for Cassandra. But on the other hand, I also feel like it might be leading up to the character's demise, where we might not, see Cassandra survive season 2. And I predicted a little bit of that with my character death predictions video. But one possibility that I thought about was that maybe Kurian might capture her. We do know that they are in approximately the same vicinity. We don't really know where Kurian went or where Cassandra went when all those nukes started, going off. So we don't know where they're at, but there's a very good chance that Kurian might run into her, or might be chasing after her instead of Murphy. Because we have to assume that Murphy was the key to something in Kurian's experiments. And later on, we might find out exactly what he's up to. But maybe the thought process is as well, if I can't get Murphy, I can get the next best thing and see if that works. It's kind of like, oh, well, I want the top dog, but if I can only get the second in command, that's the way life works sometimes. So there may be a possibility that Kurian might capture Cassandra instead of Murphy and try to extract the, whatever it is inside of her, the virus or some kind of DNA sample, something like that, to test her and test her abilities and potentially see what he can do with them. Now, he may find out that it's inferior for some reason inside of her. He may find that the samples would not be compatible, and that might lead to Cassandra's demise, where, she might try to escape and might get killed, or something like that might happen to her, along the way. Or I also think that she might be, an important figure for Kurian. That maybe Kurian might be conducting experiments on her to potentially make her stronger than she already is. And under, their own control instead of Murphy's. Again, we don't really know the kind of control that Murphy has over people yet, whether it's permanent, that it lasts forever, or whether it wears off after a time. That's another possibility too. Again, we have to find out more about this virus, but, maybe Murphy can only control them for a little bit of time. It's kind of like when you eat or you drink. It only satisfies you for a little while, and then you gotta eat more, you gotta drink more, in order for your body to continue to, produce things. That's just, biology, that chemistry, all that stuff put together. That's the way it works. And it may be the same thing for, the virus and Murphy. With what exactly he's doing with them, we don't really know. But that it might only be temporary for people. And that, they may retain those qualities. Like, I think Cassandra will still, be like a zombie, hybrid. We don't really know exactly the extent of what Murphy did to her. We don't know if he can, like, release certain things into people's bodies or not. I mean, we don't really know the whole extent, but, maybe he can't control Cassandra forever unless he continues to provide, whether it's saliva or a bite, whatever it may be, unless he continues to do that. So we don't really know yet, but I think that it is a very good possibility that Cassandra could become something important for Kurian, and become some kind of science experiment for him, that could result in figuring out, a potential key element to what he's trying to do. Or again, I thought about that he might get a hold of Cassandra, but that instead of, letting him succeed, Cassandra might kill herself or get herself killed, to prevent Kurian from being able to get that information from her. I think that would be a very heroic way for her to go out if she would have to die, You know, that instead of, you know, Kurian being dominating and killing her, you know, just on the table, you know, that Kurian might be going through a breakthrough in the, you know, in his experiments and testing, and Cassandra would basically escape, or, you know, throw herself off a roof or whatever it might be. I mean, we really don't know, or if it's going to come to that, in order to prevent him from being able to get the stuff that he needs to get. Because we don't know if he can get it from a dead body or not. Because if he could have, I think he would have, you know, gotten it from dead zombies, you know, or whatever the case might be. So obviously there's something special about Murphy and maybe even Cassandra that he needs. But I think that those are a lot of good possibilities for the character. And only time will tell, you know, with the premiere, what they're going to do with her. There's a lot of questions still up in the air, and we unfortunately still have to wait the summer. But you know, I'm definitely very excited to see what they have coming forward in you know, Z Nation season 2, and hopefully we get a trailer soon, and we can, you know, maybe figure out a little more of what's going on. But that's all I have for this video. I want to thank all of you for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, don't be afraid to leave them. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. And any video suggestions that you would like to see, don't be afraid to post them on, you know, in the comments. I will gladly do suggestions. I really hope that you all have a wonderful day, and thank you very much for watching.